All right, so this is Futhark Records. I started the shop last year on Devil's Night, October 30th. This store has been in my mind quite a long time. I've always liked record shops. I always liked records. I always liked metal. And it was pretty much a no-brainer for me to go that direction and open a shop that focuses on metal only and predominantly vinyl. It is predominantly extreme metal. I don't know whether I like that term because it almost is an exclusive term that leaves a lot of people out that might actually enjoy listening to it. So for me, this music is not extreme because even though some people would call it extreme, there's always something that in that music that's accessible for everyone. And I think a lot of people are scared to try out something new. Okay, so there's 5 albums that stuck out to me in the last few weeks. And the first one would be Mutilatred, Determined to Rot. That has been released just a few weeks ago by Redefining Darkness. What I like about this album, it's a really good representation of brutal death metal. It's caveman style, simplicity, riff over riff over riff, and rhythm. So there's no melody whatsoever. It's just a pure, brutal death metal experience. These guys are from Ohio. Ohio right now is on fire with bringing forth tons of good death metal bands. As a matter of fact, at the end of July, there is the Into the Darkness festival, which I will be joining. And there will be a lot of local bands, Ohio bands, showing off their stuff. The second album is pretty local. It's a Vancouver band, Egregore. This album has been released just 2 weeks ago by $20 Spin. The Vancouver scene is pretty prolific right now. There's one great album after the other coming out. These two guys, it's a 2-piece band. Both are also members of Mitochondrion and Auroch, which are 2 bands that I really like. So it's basically, these are part of this Vancouver dark mystical occult circle who are cranking out pretty cool albums. So this is the exact opposite of the previous album that I was talking about. It's very complex. There's a lot of sounds. There's a lot of riffing. There is clear vocals. There is black metal vocals. It's a very complex concoction of black metal, death metal, and war metal. Temple of Void. Temple of Void's 4th release now on Relapse Records. That came out a couple of months ago. This is a band that I have been pursuing for quite a while. They are from Detroit, Michigan. Their first 3 albums I really like. They're in my personal stash. This album has been criticized for being too accessible, which I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If that opens up the band to more fans, the better for them. It's a doom death album that really conveys the doom spirit, the doom style very well. As much as it's criticized for their accessibility, it's also praised by a lot of reviewers that it's a really good, well-produced, and nicely sounding record. So this is another record that stood out for me the last little while. This is a sleeper album. This is a band that a lot more people should know. It's Crystal Coffin from Vancouver again, the Vancouver scene. This is quite a little bit different from the other Vancouver band, Egregore. Crystal Coffin is a little bit more straightforward atmospheric black metal. What I like about this album is that it's really nicely produced. There is some raw black metal vocals, but there's also some clear vocals. So there's a good interplay between those 2 styles. It is self-released. So lo and behold, they don't actually, last time I checked, they haven't been on a label yet, which I'm very surprised about because their first album is very strong as well. What's great about this album also is that it's a real story that evolves around the Chernobyl nuclear power plant catastrophe in 1986. So what they're doing, they're basically retelling that story by giving it a science fiction kind of feel to it. And if you follow the lyrics, it's a real cool story. So for people who like black metal, that is not quite as raw, that is a little bit more accessible, but also for people who like science fiction, this is a really cool album to listen to. I really like that one. Now this is a completely different album. This is Plebeian Grandstand. That album was released just a few weeks ago, a month ago, by Debemur Morti, which is a French label. Plebeian Grandstand is from France. The album is called Rien ne suffit, pardon my French, which means nothing is enough. And that really is the motto of the entire record. This record is so complex, it's beautifully played, it's beautifully produced. It's a really nice mix of mathcore, it has some free jazz elements to it, and it also has some traditional black metal elements to it. So you have three styles that are really masterfully put together. It's a record that is ideal for sitting back and you're a lazy boy, put your earphones on and just get lost in it. Again, very strong album. I have to admit I don't know their previous material. I haven't had the possibility to get in the shop yet, but I will certainly do it because this is something to have in your stash.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.